Why the Amanda the Adventure was ruined everything, and why the Kimoja, here the Kimoja was so underrated. And finally, talking about some trains, all the history of the big four railway companies. Hello, and welcome to the Kidonia News. Amanda the Adventure is one of the most popular children's series ever. But however, it got terrorized everything. We don't know what all happened, and why and why children has gone missing. Even so, why everything was on purpose? Why people went missing? And why everyone's got disappeared by some tapes? And why did everything on purpose? Well, tell us this. Hey, is it yes? Is he not? Or why do they do that? Why everything was all gone and disappeared? Everything. And we'll take on some news about. We will learn more right now as we join this one. Take it away.
It's been 3 weeks since local television producer Sam Colton was reported missing, and authorities still have no leads. Colton is the creator of Amanda the Adventurer, the public access children's educational program that became a huge hit among area children. But with Colton's disappearance, the future of the show remains unclear. Last year, Hamlin Entertainment purchased rights to the live-action program starring Colton's daughter Rebecca. As budget and production value increased, Hamlin reimagined the show as an animated series, planning to syndicate the program nationally. Hamlin's acquisition of the program and Colton's recent disappearance have raised some eyebrows. And to further fuel these concerns, new episodes of Amanda the Adventurer have had subject matter that has left local parents uncomfortable about the program.
My kids are still really into that show, but it has changed. I mean, I walked in the other day and Amanda was talking about how mommies and daddies aren't always right. I mean, what is that? That's not something you tell impressionable kids. I had to change the channel. I just told the kids that the TV was acting up.
It's not yet clear how Colton's disappearance will affect the involvement of his daughter, Rebecca, the show's young star. We reached out to Hamlin Entertainment for an interview. While representatives declined to comment, they did release a written statement. We at Hamlin have concerns surrounding the nature of Sam Colton's abandonment of both our program and his daughter. We cannot speculate on his reasons for leaving. We do ask that the community respect the privacy of Rebecca Colton, as she needs time out of the spotlight to process these disturbing events. For the time being, Rebecca's local appearances have been canceled, including the Kensdale Public Library fundraiser, Woolies Readathon, this Saturday evening. Rest assured that Amanda is not going anywhere. Hamlin Entertainment remains committed to our vision for this cherished program. Despite this statement, authorities have not drawn any conclusions about the nature of Sam Colton's disappearance. We will share any future updates as the story develops. When we return, we'll check in with Zappo, the talking gerbil.
It's me, your friend, Skip, and with me, as always, is my trusty dog.
That's totally sad about this one. We have Bluffy and Thistle right there. About this. We have Bluffy from Inside Out 2 and one of Rose's friends, Thistle. Now, can you tell me what it all happened when it's all gone missing, when the TV show creator who made Amanda the Adventure was disappeared. Just write in the private chat all your comments. Why got disappeared everything? Jeez. It's Amanda herself, eh? Oh, Fizzle. Could you tell me what happened to the creator of Amanda the Adventure? Just writing the creator has gone missing and nowhere in sight. Why Hamlin banned everything and why ruined everything on purpose? You know? Just write in the private chat and tell me what all happened. Okay, you're searching on it. So we're talking about this one. And yet, yes, why a man the adventure was with everything. Well, as I was saying, well, sorry to say that sadly though, Amanda the Adventure was a total fiasco. Why? She ruined TV show, TV, and everything, etc., 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 etc. As you can see it, but even so, why? You don't know what all happened right here, and but it got such a total fiasco for some apparent reason. We don't know why. Well, the creative was started back in. They started making so-called Amanda the Adventure back in 2001. Well, no one knows for sure, Bluffy, or is he not? But disappeared, or what, a trace, or some kind of a this one. Well, no apparent mean, but we don't know what it's been. Even so, it was all gone. But remains a mystery, unsolved. Totally unsolved, but we don't know why. Or we don't know why it had gone. Or we don't know why or gone. Well, almost cancelled, Amanda. Almost cancelled, but there it is. So, Fizzle had responded. So tell me, so what happened? Well, in late 2001, well, is after the September 11 terrorist attacks. Yeah, we know about the September 11 terrorist attacks. Can you tell me more? Well, as I was saying, in late 2001, this is after the September 11 terrorist attacks, Sam was abducted by Hamlin and held at their headquarters 3 weeks after he was declared missing. Hamlin released a written statement claiming Sam abandoned Amanda the Adventure and Ripka, and they cannot speculate on his reasons of leaving. Hamlin would gain custody of Rebecca. So, why did they do that? How? So that's what's then. But we uncovered some of these footages from. We uncovered some footages of. Yeah, yes. I want some footages of a. Some, we'll cover some footages of the.
On an all-new
Oh yeah, sorry. Extra. Sorry about that. We found some of these footages by a man who made something was gone into the disc ones. Taken away? And yes. And there it is. On March 8th, 2002, 1 year, months after the terrorist attacks, the director brought in Rebecca and had signed a contract on unclear purposes. A scientist taking notes as she did. Afterward, the scientist guided her to a guard room, implied that had involved subtle means. Hamlin would later take her consciousness and place inside Amanda, trapping her as Amanda. This is so terrible, eh? But we have more evidence. We have captured live on tape as a man found this note right there. As you can see there, he was saying right there, "Dear Riley, if you're reading this, it means you won't see me again unless it's in the next life. I wish I could have told you everything. I don't know how much time I have, and there's so much I have to do before I'm gone. This letter serves true purposes to say goodbye and bequeath you to you in my house in Kensdale. The next stop may be a mistake, and God forgive me if it is. When you settle this, there's something in the attic I need to pass you on to. Look for a tape, but note that once you watch it, there's no turning back. Safe, my dear. Would you always, Aunt Kate?" Yes, as you can see here, Aunt Kate is gonna pass away. They're gonna pass the house from named Riley. A teenager had come here. He caught this tape and found this tape on purpose right here.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Wooly.
So as you can see there, so many differences. They have solved puzzles, everything, etc. But they etc. They found out what all happened. So when we don't know what all happened, and so what ones? But Riley managed to make this ones this. But yes, they made it this one. But at the end, Riley have founded it. This tape, but was not. But even so, but they found something. But even so, they didn't find. But at the end, Riley have found a final tape of the Amanda the Adventure and documented this. You better take a look at this.
Hi, I'm Amanda. Which snack would you like? Yum, that's my favorite. Friends can share other things too. They can share secrets. Can I share a secret with you? Are you sure? It's a big secret. Is it really okay to share my secret with you? I'm out there somewhere.
Well, if there's something was all in the attic, was all happening, and there's also a saying, I'm out there somewhere, but it was just a lot of theories. Nobody knew what happened, but it was a legend or something, or being devised or something, or by a glitch, or by an evil glitch. It was just a lot of theories. If you had getting goosebumps yourself, rest assured it was all you were being talked about. Even so, you think it was a man, but even so, it was so terrible. Terrible indeed. Indeed was. No. There's just a lot of theories. Lots of theories. Anything. But nobody knew what all happened. Just me, or some say another story. This one is like a of some sort. Why everything was so this one. But even so, no one knew what all happened in this one. No one yes, no one could say. No one. Nobody could say about that. No one could say what all happened. Hmm? Well, it's a lot of fear. You can see. You might say, but yes. But there's only one who was totally successful after the adventure. No, that will be. That's right. You guessed it. In 3, 2, 1. Dora the Explorer indeed was so successful. It appears on Nick Jr. every day. But why did somebody say what's so successful? Well, but it appears in one. And this year in 2024, Dora has been appeared ever since. And also for the first time, he was appeared in Thanksgiving Day Parade. You never know it. Watch that right before, right? Well, kinda. Anyway. So, yes. Hey. So I'm thing. But some say if I'm but somebody say if I'm but if you ever see Amanda the Adventure tapes, ever see the Amanda the Adventure tapes, don't play it. Otherwise, you might get yourself off terrible mistake. And yeah, that's the one. Now, on to the next topic. Why key and the emerging heroes are so totally underrated? Well, it's just importance, or someone acting like a dad, etc., 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 or why did everything on purpose? Well, yes. Well, someone was in the Hey, hey. Oh, talk about. Well, say more about this one. Oh, it explains. Oh no, no. Here we go. No. Here we go. Oops. From the beginning. Yeah. And yeah, that's totally. But yeah. So what do you think? Everything about the got underrated. I think. What do you mean about that? Just put it in the comments in the private chat. Why happened? Was so overrated? I mean underrated. I think. Of and it's outside. Uh oh. Thank you. Yes. So that's one. Never heard it. If you want to watch that, you better watch it. Yes. So, into the next topic. So, the Big Four railway companies is being formed in 1923. Even so, 104 years ago today. Even so, why did the Big Four railways was so famous? It's been 101 years since the grouping. And how did God nationalize itself? And how could yes. Yes. See? So that's what I say for the community. Let's see the let's see. Oh yeah. Oh, I get it. I get it. Yes, I get it. Uh, and uh-huh. So that's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. Right. All right. So, on to the next topic. The Big Four railway companies has been formed in 1923. These were the this four of them were being built for Britain. Was being formed in the 1923 grouping up in Britain. So the locomotives was being rivalries and fierce competitions, and was being 101 years since the railway had been formed. But why do they do that? And how do the locomotives got doing so well? And how got defunct by nationalization? Well, we'll explain everything about the Big Four railway companies. So, take it away, my good friend. So, take it away, my friend.
Today, I'd like to talk about a big subject, the Big Four. If you're not a railway enthusiast, that might not mean anything to you other than possibly a Marvel comic. However, the Big Four do come up in my videos quite a lot. When I'm talking about history, I'll quite often mention the fact that a particular line was taken over in 1923. When I do, I am indirectly referring to the Big Four and the 1923 grouping. With the 1st of January 2023 being the 100th anniversary of the grouping, I thought it might be interesting to look into what happened, why, and how. My usual disclaimer. For the sake of brevity, I'm not going to discuss absolutely every aspect of the grouping, more provide a general overview. I don't want to scare the normies. So the bulk of the British railway network was built around the mid-decades of the 19th century. Many of the railways were built speculatively, or even cynically, by people who saw them primarily as a means of transporting money into their bank accounts. This was followed by what I tend to think of as a period of corporate Darwinism, when the smaller companies were absorbed by larger companies, willingly or otherwise. By the end of the pre-grouping period, some very large companies were amalgamating or getting devoured. The rival South Eastern Railway and London, Chatham and Dover Railway merged into the South Eastern and Chatham Railway in 1899, and the London and North Western amalgamated with the Lancashire and Yorkshire in 1922. During the First World War, the railways of Britain were brought under government control, and actually that worked pretty well. For the first time, the country had a totally coherent railway network. Wasteful duplication and competition was eliminated, making for a more economical and efficient system. And the gentlemen in Westminster wondered, would that work as a permanent thing? Full nationalisation was seen as a step too far. Eric Geddes, Minister for Transport, saw it as leading to sloppy management. Instead, a sort of halfway solution was proposed. The railways would remain in corporate ownership, but what would happen would be a government-mandated amalgamation of companies into regional blocks. Various permutations were considered, but eventually 4 companies were settled on. These would be the London and North Eastern Railway for the East Coast, the London, Midland and Scottish for the West Coast, the Great Western Railway for Wales and the West Country, and the Southern Railway for the south of England. While 3 of these were new companies, the Great Western was a pre-grouping railway that survived. The argument its directors made was that the amalgamation would consist of them and a whole bunch of considerably smaller companies. So really, it was just a big takeover from their point of view. The Railways Act of 1921 made the whole thing official, and on the 1st of January 1923, the grouping came into effect. I said things were divided into regional blocks, but that's a very rough description. Because it was a grouping of companies, and because said companies hadn't been too bothered about geographical consistency, it meant that the new companies often encroached on each other's turf. For instance, the Midland Railway owned the London, Tilbury and Southend Railway, and they got taken over by the LMS, so the LMS had a rather incongruous line in Essex. The Great Western and the Southern both ran into Devon and Cornwall because the Southern took over the London and South Western Railway, the GWR's rival. The LMS ran into Wales thanks to the London and North Western Railway. And in London, it was anybody's guess who owned your line. There were countless other examples. Related to this, there were a few cases where lines were owned jointly by companies that ended up in different groups. The Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway and the Midland and Great Northern were 2 examples. Their owning companies were split between the big 4. So, rather than fight, these railways remained separate. There were many, many other exceptions to the rules. The London Underground, including the Metropolitan Railway, stayed independent. The Metropolitan didn't much like being considered in the same light as mere tube lines like the Bakerloo, but that was just tough. Light railways were also allowed to stay independent, although not all did. Private railways, such as industrial or military lines, stayed out of it. But also there were exceptions to the exceptions, usually because a small railway line was owned by a larger company that got grouped. The Waterloo and City line became part of the Southern Railway rather than the Underground because it was owned by the London and South Western Railway. The Welshpool and Llanfair Railway became part of the Great Western because it was owned by the Cambrian Railways. The original plan had only been to group companies in England and Wales, but the Scottish companies wanted in. Since there were routes crossing the border, it was decided that the Scottish companies should be grouped with English and Welsh ones where appropriate. Northern Ireland was kept separate, although the LMS ended up inheriting the Northern Counties Committee from the Midland Railway. So too were the lines on the Channel Islands and the Isle of Man, but the Isle of Wight fell under the Southern. I should also mention that a couple of companies were grouped later than the others. The Caledonian Railway and the North Staffordshire Railway didn't like the terms of the amalgamation, so their takeover was delayed until that had been hammered out. But what did all this mean on the ground? Well, for one thing, it meant that a lot of facilities were eliminated or merged. A big hole was knocked in the wall between Victoria's South Eastern and Chatham and London, Brighton and South Coast stations, which were now both southern. Every major railway had its own works, and now, once major works found themselves downgraded as responsibilities were transferred. Perhaps the people worst affected were the workers on the smaller railways. Whereas before they could expect to remain local, they might now be assigned anywhere on a much larger network. If you don't mind me getting personal, my great-granddad started on the North Staffordshire and under the LMS found himself posted 40 miles from home, which was a heck of a bike ride. Employees found themselves having to deal with new rules and procedures and a whole new chain of command. They often felt that they were being passed over for promotion in favour of men from the larger companies. While in theory the grouping meant that rivalries between old companies ended, in practice, no, not at all. Highland Railway men were not at all happy about having to cooperate with Caledonian Railway men, for instance. Changes would often favour one former company over others. For example, the LMS designed its locomotives based on Midland Railway practice rather than that of any of its other similarly respectable constituents. Then there was the financial question. One of the aims of the grouping was that the rich lines could prop the poor lines up. That was fine if you had a lot of rich lines, but sometimes you didn't. The LNER had the wealthy lines of the former North Eastern Railway network, but they also had the largely unprofitable Great Northern, Great Eastern, and Great Central dragging them down. Still, despite all this, the end result was a period that feels, in retrospect, like a golden age for British railways. Designers pushed technology in new directions. Trains became more luxurious than ever before. Some of the finest and most iconic locomotives in the world date from this era. The real killer, though, was the Second World War. Once again, the railways found themselves effectively under government control, working together for the greater good. Great things were achieved. Without the effective transport network that the railway provided, Britain's entire war effort would have been for naught. And all this while under constant bombardment by the Luftwaffe. Engineers had to perform miracles, repairing infrastructure and rolling stock with greater speed than ever before to keep the country going. But all this came at a cost. When the war ended, Britain was left with a dilapidated rail network that had been pushed beyond its limit. Track was damaged, rolling stock was worn out, and maintenance had been carried out at the bare minimum. Modernisation was badly needed, but the railways could hardly run an even adequate service. So another change was on its way. The 1st of January 2023 represents not only the 100th anniversary of the formation of the Big Four, but the 75th anniversary of their end. Under the Transport Act of 1947, the Big Four were nationalised and brought under the control of the government. Gone were the GWR, LMS, LNER and Southern, and in their place were the 6 regions of British railways. Railways were to become more efficient than ever before, in theory. Whether the British Railways era was a good thing or a bad thing is a complex question for another time, but I don't think I'm being unfair in saying that it marked the end of one of the most glamorous and innovative periods in railway history. Well, I hope you...
So, that's it for the Big Four railway companies. That's the history of this one. So, Thistle, what do you think about the locomotives of the 1930s? You just put in the private chat and see what you like that one. So, you like that. Yes, he likes that. Because, British Railways is a nationalized, but the Big Four is greatest thing. So, the Big Four railway companies is greatest one. But some of these locomotives was being preserved, totally preserved, as of now. Sorry. Yes, and indeed it were. Some of these locomotives were preserved. And so, yes. So yes, even so, it will still be 100 years old, but right now it's 101 years old. So better take a look at this short. No? But I think and yes it is. So that's the big four railway companies. So yes. So that's it for the for the Toono this weekend streaming news. If you have a request and you have any requests of the free topics of the streaming news, then put to the community notes. Then find the community post and put a free request of the topics if you want to. You're free to do that. Only have to choose one by one. If you do this, I will send to you, so I'll be ready. If not, I will be ready for my topics on my own. Yes, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching of this streaming news of Toono this weekend. We'll see you next time.